Joining us now is U.S. Senator Roger Wicker of Tupelo to talk about the life, the career of Thad Cochran. If you follow politics, you know who Thad Cochran was. But for folks who maybe just know of him just in passing, share with us from your standpoint, having served with him in the Senate, just how big a deal this man was.
Well, he was a giant in the United States Senate, and seeing the footage behind us of Thad Cochran down through the years as a young congressman beginning in 1973 up till the time of his retirement a couple of years ago, it's just amazing to think of what he's meant to this state. He's one of the giants that ever stepped foot in the Congress from the state of Mississippi, and he's meant so much to us.
Correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed as though, yes, he was a Republican, but having served more than 4 decades in the Senate, it's not all about partisan politics. He seemed to have, and I guess that could be said about a lot of senators who serve in that chamber for any length of time, but it wasn't always about party.
Right.
It was about getting things done, wasn't it?
Well, I would hope that we all aspire to have that said about us. We still have the 60-vote rule in the United States Senate. I think we're going to keep that. That means if you get anything really substantive accomplished, you've got to get up 60 votes. You have to build a consensus. And when Thad needed to be a loyal Republican, he could gird his loins and fight with the best of us. He was a member, an elected member of the Republican leadership. A lot of people forget that. Before he became chairman of the Appropriations Committee, he was elected by his peers to party leadership positions. So he was a good, strong Republican, but he was somebody that could find a compromise. Whether it was about agricultural policy, whether it was about the Thad Cochran Fellows program that's trained thousands and thousands of young people around the world in agriculture policy, or whether it was those dark days after Katrina when people around the country were saying, you're spending too much. You're sending too much to Mississippi. They couldn't possibly need that much recovery. And people like Thad Cochran and Trent Lott and that delegation then in the Senate, they made the case, told the people the facts, reached across the aisle, and I think the people of America were with us.
Take us behind closed doors. What was, we see him in news clips, we read about him, but we never worked with him. I mean, you served in the Senate with him representing this state for many years. What's he like?
Well, it was quiet diplomacy. Now, he could get on the stump and make a rip-roaring speech when he needed to, and I've heard him do that over in Pontotoc, which is where he and I were both born.
Yes.
He could do that, but it was mainly a matter of making the point and getting the legislation that we needed.
Other than being from Pontotoc County, what would you say was his biggest strength?
People didn't realize really how intellectual he was. He's a small town boy and was good at agriculture policy and was a Navy veteran, ROTC graduate. But really, I would say when it comes down to it, he's one of the great minds, really, that ever served in the United States. And he was keenly intelligent. And he, at the same time, he knew people. He was comfortable at the courthouse. He could relate to the farmers, and really, you want to ask someone in Mississippi what Thad Cochran has done for us. Ask a farmer, and they'll talk about the years that he was chairman, not only of the Appropriations Committee, but also on the Agriculture Committee, and the things he did to make our industry competitive around the world. Farmers in Mississippi today, largely because of some of the things that Thad Cochran advocated. We sell things all over the world. We grow things in Mississippi and we ship them to almost every continent.
As we wrap up, is that his legacy? Is that what 30, 40, 50 years from now they look back at this man's career? Is that what's going to jump out?
I think they look back at healthcare research. Those are just parts of his legacy. And we will enjoy the benefits of his service for decades and decades to come.
U.S. Senator Roger Wicker, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.